Hello, good people. Welcome to the Save Happy Life channel with me, Dr. Rose M. We started a series on depression as a mental health problem, and today we continue on day 2 to discuss this very critical and quite common and quite serious mental health issue. Today, I would like us to look at the symptoms and signs of depression. And I would want us to look at depression in children and also depression in teenagers. Did you know that children as young as 6 years, as young as 7 years, as young as 10 years get depression? Even the twins, the 10-year-olds, the 11-year-olds, the 12-year-olds, they also get depression. And if you notice some of the following signs that I'm going to mention here in your child for a period of 2 weeks, then you need to worry about that, or you need to get concerned so that you seek help just in case there is depression setting in. Number 1, I'll list them down quite quickly, not with no particular order of importance or seriousness, but just a list. If a child easily loses control, easily loses their cool, there could be something that is not right, especially when it is not their characteristic to lose their cool or temper easily. When a child comes complaining of headaches, stomachache, an ache here, an ache there, we need to seriously think through what could be the issue. When the child changes sleeping patterns, either sleeps too much or sleeps less, and may have nightmares at night, may shout in their sleep, we need to be concerned and look into possibilities of depression maybe setting in. When the child looks low, sad, gloomy all the time without a particular reason that you as the caregiver, the parent, the relative, the brother, the sister, you can think of. When they become aggressive, particularly when it is not their character. When they develop a habit of forgetting to do their chores, they forget to do homework, they forget to do something that they were told by the parent to do or by the caregiver to do. They have lower energy levels. You find a child in this age of 6 to 13 years, they're supposed to be energetic, and you find them keeping to themselves with low energy levels. There is need to be concerned. Then when you see them stopping to appreciate the little things about themselves, admiring their clothes, saying they're smart, or appreciating a dress, appreciating a trouser, then there is something that could be disturbing that child. They might not want to go to school and claim that there are no friends in school, claim that the teacher does not like them, claim that the other children laugh at them, or they do not like them. This is particularly if a child was enthusiastic about school and suddenly they are lost interest. They like keeping their own company, which you realize is unusual. They want to be on their own. They don't want to interact with the other family members or interact with other children to play and generally be children. They like to resign to fate. If somebody takes their toy, they don't want to fight for it. They don't want to get it back. They easily let go. They will even take blame where they are not to blame. If something goes wrong in the house, a glass breaks, and somebody thinks it could be them, they easily take the blame, and they become like a sponge to soak all the mistakes in the house, and they have resigned to that kind of situation. Their performance in school dips, and also they become a little careless. They easily lose school items and personal items. A child loses a pen today, tomorrow they lose another, they lose a book, and on and on. They have increased or decreased appetite, and they may have suicidal ideations. They may want to harm themselves. by cutting their skin or taking an overdose of medication. When they cut their skin, they feel relief and they're happy to cut the skin. They're able even to live with the pain that comes from the cut, and they are okay with that. And that means that they are kind of becoming numb. They are not able to feel themselves, because depression is really depressing their senses, their emotions, their ability to be, their eagerness to live. And so that being a list that we could associate with the children, even teenagers get into depression. And this is quite common, even in our country, Kenya, where we have had teenagers even going as far as committing suicide. And when you notice some of these things that I'm going to mention in a teenager, it is reason enough to raise your antenna and pay more attention to them. Something like it being irritable and short-tempered, just like the children, and they get angry over issues that, according to you, it should not be a reason for them to get angry. That is a red flag for a teenager. Then they get into constant conflict with the family members, with the parents, with friends, with the teachers, with other students in school, with animals. They kick the cat, they kick the dog, even non-living things. They quarrel with their books or with their geometrical sets, and they're in constant conflict with everybody and everything that comes their way. They are gloomy. They tend to be teary. They cry often, and they lament about their past mistakes. It's like they remember what they have done wrong all their life, and they want to blame themselves for it. They have inability to think clearly and to remember things, and also a tendency to sleep either too much or too little. They want to keep awake at night, and in the morning when they want them to go to school, or when you want them to wake up to do other chores, if it is during the school holiday, then that is the prime time for their sleep. They lack the drive to be. They lack the drive to be a strong personality. They lack ability to make decisions. They suffer from low esteem, and they feel guilty and worthless. And they'll express as much in the course of conversations if you listen keenly to what they say when they speak. They have decreased interest in things or activities that would have been exciting to them. If they are talkative, they become quiet. If they are quiet, they become talkative. And they have that tendency to want to keep to themselves. They close themselves in. Then they also lack initiative, and they confess to feeling hopeless, to feeling empty, to lacking energy. A child who was eager to become a doctor, a child who was eager to have a bright future, suddenly feels that they are hopeless, they'll never make it in life, and that the life is not worth living. They easily resign to rejection, failure, and gloom in future. They see future in terms of gloom, not a bright future. And they even want to stop living. They have a desire to cease existing, cease living, or in simply put, they want to die sooner rather than later. They seek comfort in food by either eating too much or having a special preference of type of food. They may increase their appetite, for example, in bread. They want to eat bread, and they want to eat a whole loaf of bread, which is not common or which was not normal. Or they totally refuse to eat so that their body gets drained of energy. And while they are doing that, it's very likely that they will going to use other things to kind of keep their body in shape, or to keep the hope in their body, or to keep the spirit in their body elevated, adrenaline elevated. They may want or they may turn to alcohol and other substance abuse or substances like drugs, like bangi, quietly too. They complain of ill health. These are children who are constantly lining up at the nurse's sanatorium, and they are forever seeking permission to go to hospital from school. They complain of pains that cannot be proven medically, but they say they are feeling the pain and they want to be out and to be attended to. They drop in school performance and they increase a need to be out of school where there is no pressure, where they are in their comfort zone, and where they can be alone without the multitude or the crowd of classmates around them. They have an inability to be calm. They cannot sit still. They like playing with themselves. They they want to pull on their hair for no good reason. They want to bite their nails. They want to keep wringing their hands or stamping their feet or just doing something with their body, kind of to keep company to themselves. They're careless and they start losing personal items. You can find a child who is in Form 3 or Form 4 just when you expect that that child has grown through secondary school, through Form 1, through Form 2, and now Form 3, and now Form 4. And when they ought to be careful about where they hang their clothes, their sweaters, their buckets, their everything, but suddenly they start losing personal items. That is a red flag. They engage in disruptive or risky behavior, for example, crime. They may want to get into a gang that picks other people's phones or picks other people's bags. That is a risky or a criminal behavior. And they also want to act out. They threaten, for example, to jump from heights, from a tree, from a top of a building. And they also slip into rebellion without care. That's, for example, engaging in promiscuous sex. They sleep during the day without care. They stay awake at night doing nothing, watching movies despite the advice, despite being told not to, despite knowing that it is not right, but they just want to be in that rebellious behavior kind of situation. They desire to bleed themselves, just like the younger ones. They cut themselves some lesions on the body and or they burn themselves with spots. You may have seen that that magnifying lens that is able to concentrate the solar heat into one spot. They can develop that kind of habit and they burn themselves in several spots in the body, and the pain gives them pleasure. That is ironical. Even when they bleed, when they cut themselves and they bleed, that gives them pleasure. This is depression in a child. They like visiting suicide-related sites in the internet. Suicide attempts, how to commit suicide. You'll find those kind of sites as in their computer, in their phones, and they also talk about death. They talk about dying. They ask questions about death, about dying. They seem passionate about the issue of dying and death, and they also develop or neglect. They develop a new habit. For example, excessive body piercing. You find they have several ear, body piercings, even in very, very unlikely places. I'm not saying that all the children or all the people who have multiple body piercings have depression problem, but when it is sudden and it's coming out of a child who may have one or two of the other characteristics that I have mentioned, then there is reason for a parent or for a caregiver to be concerned. They may do excessive tattooing on the body, and they also have a decreased desire to go out of the home, out of the comfortable home or out of the comfort zone. For example, they may stop going to church, they may stop going to family gatherings, they may stop going to parties, and instead lock themselves inside their room, and they are happy to be with themselves through and through and through. They also they have a tendency maybe to become violent, some of them. They fight in school, they fight in the family, and their behavior suddenly changes. So, dear friend, if you have a child and you notice some of these things that we have mentioned, kindly it is time that you seek professional advice for them so that you help them before things go very far, because depression is real, depression kills, and we do not want to lose any of our dear children, the teenagers or the young ones, or even the adults, because some of these symptoms they cut through up to the adult, the grown-ups. I am sure we are getting somewhere with the depression, and tomorrow is another day where we shall tackle another stage or another aspect of this serious issue or serious mental health called depression. Thank you very much for choosing to stay with me to the end, and God bless you as you subscribe, as you share with friends, relatives, and even the children who may be wanting, who you may think are of age to watch this content. Bye bye.